right, welcome into a new season of Calling the Audible for the spring edition. We had a nice long 4-day vacation of winter to spring
Some
transition.
of you did. Those who had to figure out who's writing the divisions and so on did not have those days off.
Yeah, it was definitely it was more of a short-term vacation that we had.
By the way, Mo, your camera now is on the other side,
I know.
and you're cutting yourself off.
Am I? Amazing. Perfect. I'm going to do that all the time.
Well, it's funny because
And I can't fix it because there's no more green.
he can't look at the camera and monitor himself. So that's actually pretty funny.
Yeah. Anyway, we're back.
You know what? I can fix this. Mo. I can make you do anything. Are you ready?
Yes,
Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, now you're good.
Perfect. We are back. We're back, and it is a new season of the spring edition. It's more of a sprint this year. The traditional, what would be 11-week regular season and then playoffs is non-existent for the spring season. It's 8 weeks.
I'm
plus
on record
playoffs.
as saying I think the 8-week schedule is trash.
Yeah, I know. You mentioned this a few times.
Hi, Rob.
Oh, yeah, we should probably do introductions.
Not really. Everyone knows who we are.
No, man.
No, we
have
don't.
new
This
teams.
is someone's first show. This is probably a
Oh, I
lot
forgot.
of people's first
I
show.
forgot, yes. Make sure you introduce yourselves, guys. I'm Peas. I'm Mo.
Yeah, that's the way we do it.
Yes.
First of all, this is our FPF podcast. It's called The Audible. I'm Peas. That's Mo. Our names are on the screen for those watching, but for the audio audience, I'm the voice that sounds like Peas.
Yeah, people always say, hey, great job, Mo. I'm like, no, I'm Peas, actually.
Yeah.
And they're confused, like, what? I go, yeah, I'm Peas. And then Peas is the other guy. He's Mo.
I've tried it at Customs. It didn't work well.
Yeah, no, that's not going to work well for you. So it is a new season. So Peas and myself and Eagle are the ones that will take this ship towards the spring season to the mid-August finals, the road show that we always have in Brossard. And there will be a little bit of change up sometimes. Iggy Magnets.
Next week is a
Yeah.
change as none of us are available.
Yeah, our loyal faithful here, Iggy, who you will see in the media world, he will jump in from time to time to come replace Peasy or myself because we might have a trip or other work obligation and stuff. But we have fun with this. This is not serious stuff. We do talk about the hard-hitting questions, but again, we have fun with it.
Yeah.
Mo, what do you mean this isn't serious stuff? You don't think that Flag Plus Football is a professional organization?
Well, according to some, it is, right? I mean, they literally hang out. Their entire there's married people who have kids who would rather opt to stay from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. to watch games.
Well, have you met kids?
I have not.
So it makes a lot of sense if you've met kids because,
Yes.
they're not fun.
No,
hang with.
no, absolutely.
But you
not.
know what
They
you
don't
could
even
do?
watch football.
No,
in most
I'm
cases.
just pressing buttons on the iPad, taking
Yeah.
stats.
You could always sign your kids up for FPF Junior, though, to get them out of the house into the league. And that way, when you're like, oh, I'm going to go watch some FPF games, the kids are like, have fun, Dad or Mom.
All right. That's
Plus,
true.
the games, they'll learn the game, so they'll be more tolerable as humans.
Of course. So anyway, we cover every division here. We'll have on riders all throughout the course of the season.
You have a writer on this week.
We don't have a rider on this
I'm
week.
sitting right here.
You do, yes. But I'm saying like an actual writer who's not part
I'm
of
an
the show.
actual writer.
I know, but not a part of the show. I'm saying,
Okay.
you're a regular guy here.
Fair.
Before we get into the topics du jour, this is going to be a little bit weird because the time of this podcast is we're in the eye or the end of the week, but there's still games to be played. So we're going to kind of recap and then preview the new games. So we apologize for those who watched this 2 days after the Thursday games and like, what the hell? So,
So the idea
deal
is
with
it's a midweek show. So the teams will play Thursday. Like this week notwithstanding, because we're week one. We're just sort of like wetting our beak. We're taking care of some administrative stuff. But largely week to week, what we're going to do is we're going to talk, not necessarily previews and recaps, but
yeah.
recap style topics, things
Right.
that happened.
Right.
But we'll also talk about things that will happen, right? Like things we expect to happen, and we'll discuss that week to week. So we won't ignore you if you're playing on a Thursday,
Yeah.
unless it's 35 plus. In which
So
case,
you can kind of look at it as the official weeks in Flag Plus are going to be Sunday to Thursday. But as far as we're concerned, our weeks go Thursday to Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly. Before we get to the previews of the seasons here, Eagle, anything coming up here? I know photos are going to be up around the corner, I believe, and uniforms and flags, the whole nine, please.
Yeah, so reminder for all teams, if you need flag belts, they're $5. They come in small, medium, and large sizes. They're all white. You can go see a scorekeeper to go get them. Usually they'll have your size. If not, you can get one and trade it in the next week, worst case. Picture week is week 2. So for your game, you'll have a photographer. They'll do a team picture, and you can do an individual picture. If you already have one, you can have yours updated. If not, you can just leave the one you have. And then if you don't have one, please get one. That way it helps our scorekeepers out for making sure that they have the right player selected when plays happen. On that note, jerseys. We do have an official uniform policy. All players are expected to have a same color jersey with a number on it. If you have one, great. If it's close enough in terms of color, usually it's fine. If you don't have one, we have a sponsor in Sportira where you can go get your jerseys from them. Basic ones are reasonably priced. I think they're like $15 or something plus tax to get them.
Any
you can
color.
get a whole kit. Any color you want. You can get fancy ones if you want that are like sublimated with your logos and the whole thing, but not necessary. All we need is just a number and a color that's similar. If ever your team has the same color jersey as your opponent, the away team gets pennies courtesy of Fly Plus for that game, but that's the only time you're eligible for pennies, other than week 1, because week 1's a little bit strange. So make sure you're on top of your jerseys. The penalty for not having your jersey is you don't get an official game played, which is important for playoffs because you need 5 games played in order to qualify for your playoffs.
We also won't register your
Or
stats, which is also important because stats are awesome.
Yes, people play for the stats.
And last thing specifically on games played, we do have a lot of double headers for this schedule, which means you'll have multiple games either in the same day or in the same week on different days, or potentially just back-to-back across, like, I don't know, Sunday, Monday type of thing. So if ever you're on vacation, you can't make both of the games in a week for a valid reason, COVID, travel plans, out of town, whatever it happens to be, you are eligible for an exemption this year because of the fact of these double headers. So reach out to the league in those situations where you can't make the games, and we'll help you out essentially with DNPs because of vacation plans in double header week specifically. That way you'll be playoff eligible. So it's a little bit different than what we normally do, but we know that because we're trying to crunch the schedule, this is going to be an issue for some teams. And already the fact that you don't have players for games sucks, but then also not being eligible for playoffs double sucks. So we're at least trying to make it less sucky.
Yeah, and the suckiness comes out of it when we make it easier for everyone involved. All right, so let's dive into it. It's more different this week because we're doing more of a preview, but I know some teams have played games. We'll go off with Div A here, Peas.
Div A's been wild so far.
Yeah, it's been 2 games in the
It's,
first 4
but it's
days.
insane. Like, so, like, we'll get into the normal topics and stuff, but just my initial reaction opening my laptop on Monday and seeing like, okay, the Apocalypse beats KGP. That's not an insane result.
Magic
But
KGP
then,
was over.
and Braves beat All Stars, and like that happens now and again. But then, KGP goes on to beat Braves. It's like, what's that? What's going on here? That's totally unexpected. And it was just surprising to see, and it's a great start for the 4-time back-to-back champion KGP.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, KGP's been on a run of success the last 4 seasons in FPF. And, now they're in the big boy league of Div A. And, by the way, the All-Stars will play Braves again, I think, by week 3 of this calendar of the Div A schedule. But you know what? I look at it this way, Peas. I had the question listed for you. Which career would you rather have in the FPF world? Phil Cutler or Dan Lazara?
Skill set or career?
This career. Like if
you take the championships, right? So you go 4 championships.
So you're saying if it was
one.
skill, then
skill is Dan Lazara. Like,
Right.
I don't think it's even crazy to say Dan Lazara is the most skilled quarterback in FPF right now.
The reason why I bring it up is because he threw for 348 in his game
Yeah.
that he had.
I was
Monday.
talking to him this week, and I said, I had a game where I threw for 285, and it felt like I was on the field constantly. How do you go for 348 in a game? That's insane.
It's a lot of yards.
It was on Game of the Week too. For
That's
those
right.
who haven't seen it yet, you can check it out on our YouTube page.
So in terms of body of work, you would go with Phil Cutler.
Well, you take the more championships. Why not? Like,
Right.
there's nothing else. Like, it's not like pro sports where you like take the salary, right? Like, if we're talking just accomplishments, Phil is Phil in the Hall of Fame?
I don't think he is. Let me double check that now. Eagle, is Phil Cutler in the Hall of Fame?
Let's go take a look together.
I think he might be in the Hall of Fame.
he was borderline pick for a lot of seasons. I think he's got to get in
his
now.
numbers
right?
now have to be
now
justified.
there's no chance he
Yeah.
doesn't get in.
Numbers now have to be justified for him to get in, but
I don't see him in our class of 2020.
but what about his individual page? Would it not show
Yeah,
up?
it
for
was shown his individual page. No.
Yes, but that's not fun. This is fun.
Oh, this is fun to a largely audio audience. Yeah. I can
Yes,
imagine.
that's fantastic stuff here. But you know, it's going to be unique because I want to see how Phil does with some of the
Hey,
premier
this
quarterbacks.
guy.
That guy's a Hall of Famer though. And this guy's a Hall of Famer.
That's
And this
right.
guy's a Hall of Famer.
Everyone's a Hall of Famer in FPF. But I'm curious to see how Phil does in this league because
Yeah.
now he's going up against Joe Mario. He's going up against Kevin Wyeth. He's going up against Dan Lazara.
But so- Going up against another quarterback means nothing because you're going up against that division's defenders, right? So like, I had this conversation about guys who are going up in, let's say, for example, Div C, right? This is my first season throwing in Div C, and my first impulse was the same as yours, Mo. I was like, well, I've thrown against Ben McMahon before. I've thrown against Jeremy White before.
yeah.
But someone on my team quickly reminded me, yeah, but the defenses are still Division C defenses that you haven't gone up against.
Yeah.
That's the difference for KGP. It's not the caliber of quarterback they're facing. It's playing Division A caliber teams week in, week out.
Right, and I think in this division, like there's some pretty good quarterbacks. I mean, when Fred Dupree might
Confirmed
be,
he is not Hall of Fame. I went to go check on his profile, and it's not there.
yeah, I didn't
So-
see it there.
So
I don't
he's,
wanna go through their
but he's a
financials.
shoo-in next ballot, I imagine.
I-
I don't know how he doesn't get in with 4 straight championships. On top of the fact that his stats have been climbing
yeah,
every
over
season.
30,000 passing yards and a ratio of like
Yeah.
I think.
Well,
6 to
his
1.
ratio wasn't great in his initial ballot, but
No.
it's gotten a lot better in the last
Definitely
couple
has.
seasons.
You know, in this division where you look at Fred Dupree, who might be the 6th best quarterback, but in Div B would be the best quarterback.
Yeah.
The margin of error in this division is going to be razor sharp, and we're seeing it now, right? I mean, you have literally 5 teams at 1-1, and Mo Problems only played one game as the All Stars, who are 0-1. And I think not every game will come down to this, but I think a good number of these games will come down to the final possessions, not the final plays.
Yeah.
To win a
Well,
debate matchup.
and more than that, as teams are moving up into Division A, and this is the thing we've kind of been excited about, hoping that more teams join Division A, Division 1, is that some guys can't go back to their teams, right?
Yeah.
And, touching on, I know we just talked KGB, but touching on them specifically as a case study,
Mm-hmm.
they move up, they take Julien Paiement with them. What that does is it removes Julien Paiement from the Braves.
That's right. I'm surprised you chose.
I'm
You
not.
surprised? You chose KGP
Well,
over
because
Braves?
it's a rec league. You choose the people where you feel A, you might have a better role, and B, you might have a better relationship. I don't know his friendships with one team versus another, right?
Yeah.
So, it's not like you're choosing a champion in a pro league, right? Like you're not signing up to play with
Right.
LeBron or whatever it is.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah, but I look at one thing in this division, right? The Apocalypse with Jeff Rosenblatt as quarterback. When I spoke to Dawson Pierre, he told me that he's listed on the Apocalypse roster, did not play the first game for them. But he said he wasn't too sure if he's going to play this year, like a full season, if not maybe 3-4 games.
Well, I imagine the tackle commitments are starting.
That's right.
soon.
He's getting ready for his tackle season for Concordia.
Yeah.
Long story short, how big of a loss is he if he can't be
I
a full
don't
commit?
think they thought he'd be there for most of the season.
Well, they got Raul Barudi on that roster. They got,
I think they have him so that no one else can pick him up as a sub.
which is smart though, right?
Yeah, no, it's a great
You're
move because
stacking the roster,
they need to
right?
ask for a release
Yeah.
to be able to use Dawson.
And James Tyrell, not former, but current CFL free agent, won a Grey Cup with the Bombers, is on the roster.
Yeah.
Barudi, James O'Hayan. You got the Armada, Sanders Armada in there, Kendall Myers as well.
Another guy who was borderline Hall of Famer, John Laristis.
Yeah, and they got the Marty Party as well. So, I mean, there's depth to work with, but Dawson Pierre just brings a different element to that team of dynamism that maybe everyone else doesn't lack. He can open it up with a deep ball catch. He can make a play on defense. He is just everywhere.
What I like about what Rosenblatt's done as he's moved up into divisions is he hasn't been afraid to take chances on like guys who didn't have the reputation. Like Raul Barudi was not a known commodity when he started playing with Rosenblatt. Sanders Armand is a guy who wasn't as well known.
The Armada.
And likewise for Nick Rapini, right? Like we know he's talented, but like forever, I remember when I started working at FPF Media, it's like, well, he hasn't played Div 1 yet. Yeah, but if the guy's talented, he's talented.
Yeah.
Right? So it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't take you playing in a division to have that talent. You either have the talent to play the division or not.
Right.
So I like taking a chance because what is there to lose?
Yeah, and I
You,
think
you can't just stick to the same 20 people playing in a division forever, right?
Yeah, I think the Apocalypse have a good core to work with.
And they
look,
just
they're-
add those pieces.
Yeah, and their next game will be against KGP on Sunday at Lachine, and then they have the All-Stars in Brace. So they have 3 big games coming up for them. And they're at 1-1. If they can go 2-1, I think that's a phenomenal start for them after 5
The
games.
Braves have a 3-point differential so far. So
I know.
That's insane.
It's wild stuff here.
insane.
But Div A is
I'm
going to be
excited.
fascinating to see how this plays out. We'll get the fake power rankings from PZ all throughout the course of the
Yeah.
season. Not this week, though, because we want to have more games to play with here.
We're going to specifically rank the teams who haven't played yet.
Exactly.
Is the goal.
On to Div B and what we have. And Div B is unique because these teams all have potential to make a move up the ladder. I saw B-Raves play twice on Sunday. I saw Brand New play with Robbie Robinson as a quarterback. And there's a lot of familiar teams, right? Silent Ticklers being one of the teams. BYOB, Touch It, Catch It, Thor's Hammer, Junkyard Dogs, Moretti Crime Family, and Mangoose. These are all teams we're very familiar with, and I'm really intrigued by this division this year.
I think it's interesting. I thought Div 3 was relatively interesting to start with, right? In winter. And so Thor's Hammer sort of had the wind taken out of their sails late in the season, so it's cool to see them back. Touch It Catch It sort of got off to a slow start and then kind of tripped up in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Junkyard Dogs, they had a deep run. And Silent Ticklers, again, sort of an unbalanced season, right? So it's cool now to see them taking another shot at it.
Yeah. I think so. And I don't know who is the favorite in this division. B-Ravs, I know Joe
P-Rav's
Mayo's
probably, right?
with Joe Mayer and stuff. But you know what though, Lauriane Beauchamp is a pass rusher for them, right? And she's a really good player. She had a big game for them against Brand New. I look at Brand New, right? They have Robbie Robinson as their quarterback. Vince Nardone's there. Chris Miard's there. I mean, I'm curious. Where does Robbie Robinson at this stage of his FPF career rank with all these quarterbacks in Div B? Is he upper class, middle, or lower tier?
I wouldn't say lower tier at all, but I will say that he hasn't been throwing as consistently as a lot of the other guys. So I think what we've seen in situations like that is guys don't come out with consistent outings, right? And we saw that with Greg Stern in the winter, right?
Right.
Where it's a guy who we've known to have success, we've known to be very talented, but not be able to put a whole season together. That's the thing that worries me with Robbie Robinson. That said, they have him on defense as well, which is nice.
Yeah. I think it's 10 TDs, 190 so far. But is there a team?
But will that be consistent? Like, will that play out for the rest of the season? I have no doubt they'll be successful. But
right.
I think it's a difference between being sort of 8-2 and 6-4.
Right. And I look at these teams here. Is there a team in your mind, Pete, that might be out of the weight class in Div B? Could it be Mangoose? That team has been competitive, but they have not taken that next step to be a upper tier team in the lower ranks. Silent Ticklers, another team to watch out for. Been very hot and cold with them.
Yeah, Silent Ticklers, the consistency is the issue, but I think I wouldn't consider an inconsistent team to be out of their class. I think Mangoose, credit to them by the way, they keep moving up without seeing success in the lower division.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna turn the corner at some point. It's just a question as to whether or not it's this season. I love Nick Schaefer, so I hope it happens. That said, I don't know if they can do that quite yet. And then the other one that's curious is the Moretti crime family. Joey Taylor, I imagine, is quarterback for his team.
He has to be the quarterback. Yeah,
he has to be, and it's a question as to Joey threw co-ed but hasn't played a high division in a while, right? Co-ed wants pretty high caliber ball, but it's not necessarily the same as throwing Division B.
This is also a very strange team roster wise. What is this team?
Look, it's a lot of talent, though, right?
Yeah, but what system are you going to run?
It's a system team.
but the
it
Joey
can only
Taylor
run one
offense with
system.
this team?
Yeah, but these guys know the roles in the Joey Taylor offense, right? It's not like you have Dawson Pierre and that changes the whole dynamic. They know what they have to do in that system.
I will say, I will agree with you, Mo, that you might have a guy like Rocco Cristiano, who's just this crazy speedster, but he understands what this team
high
is.
football IQ.
Yeah, Eddie Lee, another guy, high football IQ, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Zach Swern's played with them before.
Joel Malk has played with them before as well.
And don't forget, Eags, the Joey Taylor system now is spread to a family of teams. So they might have played on different versions of the Dan's roster, right? Or the now Moretti
crime
football family.
And the
Right.
MCF,
Yeah.
But,
So that just worries me. It's will Joey hit the ground running, or will it take him a couple of weeks to get used to?
I think it'll be okay. You're right. I think he might take a game and a half
Yeah.
to get back into rhythm, but I think teams who will go up against the MCF offense will have to be patient and have to be smart, because some people might overplay it and get frustrated, and he can just squeeze the life out of teams with the style of offense he will employ. So, I mean, look, a team like Silent Ticklers, you know, they have experience now, and with what they've built up with that roster, I mean, yes, they make runs, but they've not been a threat that you can say, yeah, are they in that
They
equation?
go 8-2 in spring, fall,
Right.
winter. There was a season where they played up to their talent. I thought,
But I
despite-
believe Rashid Ben Abdelkader is going to be throwing for them this year.
I mean, he's another guy who hasn't played in a while, but I mean,
He's been hurt though, right? So
Yeah.
how healthy is he going to be coming back into that position? Of
is
quarterback?
Jordan. Well, they also have Jordan Panetta, who can throw, worst case, right?
Right.
So, it's cool to see Rushdie back, by the way.
It's been a long time. It's been a few seasons. It's been about 3 years, I think, or 3-4 years since we last saw Rosh. But I think that beat's going to be a
Winter
good.
2019 was last time.
Wow, so 3 years with that. I think that beat will be fascinating to see. I think Lorian Beauchamp with B-Raps is going to be fun to watch with the quartet of females that they have on the roster. If you had to give your fake power rankings right now, Pease. Your fake power rankings right now, Pease.
Do I go 9-1?
Yeah, let's get that standings up here, Eagle, and
Do I get some fanfare? Like every time I announce a team, can you play a sound, Eagle?
Ta-da.
Probably. Hold on.
It could be any sound. It doesn't matter. I can't just do it. I can't raw dog it.
Yeah, I can find something for you.
All right, I'm gonna announce a team. You play the fanfare, and then I'll give like a quick statement as to why.
Okay.
All right, Mokan, you ready?
I'm ready.
Number 9, Thor's Hammer. I'm going Thor's Hammer here because they're ranked 9th in the standings currently. They're the only team with 2 losses. They're behind the 8 ball. Thor's Hammer, number 9.
How awesome would they be if they were number 1? That'd be more controversial than the BCS, old college football bowl system.
Well, yeah. Well, listen, you can submit your votes, Mokan. Please
I
get
will.
them in on time next
I
time.
will. Number 8.
Number 8, I'm gonna go with Mangoose. I love men. I love geese. But more than that, I love Nick Schaefer. That said, we haven't seen them turn the corner, like I said, yet. So we'll see if they can do that now.
Number 8.
No,
No, number 7.
Number 7. Sorry, big part 7.
Number 7, I'm gonna go BYOB. I've been a big fan of BYOB. Oh, my bad. BYOB. I'm going to go BYOB. I've been a big fan of Matthew Rene. I thought this was a good core for him. However, we've seen it not work exactly as anticipated. I like, Julien Payman. We talked about him in the first block of the show. I like him being on the roster. I like Matthew Lapage. That said, there just seems to be something missing, and there has been. So, they're ranked 7th.
Number 6.
Number 6, Mo. I think this is where we see the Moretti crime family slot in. As Eagle pointed out, maybe they're a little too weird. Maybe they're not weird enough. One way to find out what level of weirdness. I did it again. Oh, sorry, Eags.
It's fine.
Number 5.
Mo, number 5. I think we go here with Silent Ticklers. Personally, I like things that are loud. I don't like things that are silent. I definitely don't like being tickled by something silent. And the return of Rashid Ben Abdelkader, interesting storyline. I do think it's going to take some time for it to pan out, however. So until he shows me he can still do it, I'm still going to make up this power ranking and put them at 5th.
Number 4.
Here we get to the top 4. The Mount B more of the division, because it is Division B. I'm going to go brand new here. I like the defense. I like the pieces. It just seems, again, will we see Rob Robinson from yesteryear, or Rob Robinson who's still thinking he's the Rob Robinson of yesteryear?
Number 3.
Top 3, Mokan. Waiting for the internet to cooperate. I'm going to go Touch It, Catch It. Touch It, Catch It. We've seen how much talent this team has, right? It does come down to Fred Millett. You mentioned last season, you said, hey, does this team have faith in Fred Millett? Is that a narrative we made up for the show? Absolutely. So we're going to continue to push that narrative, whether or not it's true.
Number 2.
B-Raves. Look, they come into the season 2-0, and I get it. I see what they're doing. Look, we're better than everybody. Look at us flashing at 2-0. Listen, you're not the real Braves. Stop pretending. You're a B-ranked team. That's why you're number 2.
And Mike Stats Pierce says in the name now. Stats.
Yeah, I know.
Call him Stats Pierce. Number 1.
Number 1 team in the. It's very surprising, Mo.
There's only one team
There's
left.
only one team left. It's gonna go Junkyard Dogs. They're angry. Well done, Eagle. Jason Rossi, can't be happy with how last season ended. It's a great team. We know, of course, about the receiving duo of Roy Samardzin, Sean Samardzin, and of course, Paul Lapierre adds onto that size as well. Michael Kazaka is probably the best fourth option on any roster in this division. Give me Junkyard Dogs as the top dog in the division.
All right.
Those are the made-up power rankings.
The fake power rankings.
Zero prep. Did it on the fly.
On the fly. On to Div C. And there's a lot of teams in Div C this year. No split divisions. There's 17 to be exact.
Div C looks intense.
It's like an intense hamburger that has a lot of toppings in it, and you were like, oof.
Have you ever eaten a hamburger?
Well, I don't eat hamburgers anymore.
Have you ever had one?
Yeah, I have had
Okay.
them, yeah.
I was curious because I don't know if I've ever heard of a hamburger being referred to as intense. What makes a hamburger intense?
Well, you've seen when you look on social media and you see ballparks that introduce like unique hamburgers, like hey, have a quadruple patty with.
I see what you mean.
You know,
yeah, like
this,
vanity
yeah.
vanity burgers.
Exactly, right?
Do you like veggie burgers, Mo?
I do, but you know what? I had the plant-based one.
There's a few, but the Beyond one is the common one.
Right, and it's good, but there's a lot of sodium in that.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. See, people don't realize
You're
that.
not eating a burger for its health properties.
No,
man.
you're not.
It's fast food.
Exactly.
When we do the media barbecue, I will make you a black bean patty.
Oh, I look forward to it, man.
It's delicious.
When is the Mike Roy barbecue?
My summer plans are insane, so I don't know.
You'll get
It'll
next
be
year.
after Simon Dash's
After
wedding.
Simone's honeymoon.
Hopefully after I have like a run of like 3 or 4 weeks of weddings coming up in June, so I'm not really available.
It won't be June.
It'll
I
be
can
a
promise
Sunday.
you that.
Don't worry.
I work Sundays at FPF.
It might fall.
Yeah, it'll be
between
before the games. Don't worry.
It might fall between the spring and fall season.
Perfect. Like tailgating. All right. So like this is an intense hamburger of teams in this division here. Yeah, I was looking at 2 teams in particular. Air Force One top season. Both teams had really good regular seasons. The playoff runs came up short.
Well, they're moving up too.
They're moving up weight class.
Because it feels closer to Div 4A
Yeah.
than Div 4B, just based on teams that are on the docket. You
Right.
see EZW coming down a division. You see Les Montagnards Stoics from 4A,
Commissioner
Vultures from
back.
4A, Infantry. Yeah, it's gonna be intense. It's gonna be intense.
So when you look at Air Force One top season,
Mm-hmm.
who's going to finish higher?
The team with more wins, Mo.
Of course.
I'm gonna go honestly. I think Air Force One is finally in a division of their caliber.
Yeah.
They've always kind of played under their caliber. They started in Div 6. They moved on to Div 5 and were pretty dominant once they started playing. But I think there's going to be a slight adjustment period here. As talented as they are, this is a division where you can't just win on talent anymore because everyone has stacked rosters across the board. And then top season to me is a better combination of FPF knowledge and talent. I think we're all beyond questioning Ryan McGrath at this point, right?
He's a very good quarterback.
Very good.
Very good quarterback. And the roster for them, I mean, look, you got Quizzy Gordon Mall. You got the McGrath boys and Ryan and Sean.
And the Paramount boys too.
The Paramount boys and the Bayesian Station Hassani Worrell and Andel Thomas Gordon as well, who's a veteran in the FPF world. So it is a very deep veteran team. And look, their schedule that they have, Vultures one step closer, Tough Lungs. Not an easy run, and they do play Air Force One week 4 of June 30th. So, in fact, by the way, I looked at it, boys. Every FPF team is going to play once for every 5.2 days. So right now for top season, they will have 6 games in the next 24 days, and that could really shape up whether they're in a dogfight for the playoffs or in the playoffs, moving towards a top end seed.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like top season a lot. I think Air Force One has great potential to make noise.
Look, they scored 30 points in their first game, right?
Yeah.
So they took on Ravens, who are another team moving up from Division 5. Great addition in Gab Wiseman to the team. But, Air Force One played a team about the caliber, and they had a close game. It's awesome.
I know Infantry had a glitch losing to the commission, but would we say they're the favorites to win this division? Because it's pretty much minus Jalen Greaves, the same core from last spring.
Sorry, which team?
The Infantry.
Infantry, yeah.
Minus Jalen Greaves, the same core roster. Corey Wolofsky throwing the Smergeon brothers in there, coming back. And yes, they lost to the commission, but I think in the long-term investment, they might be the team to beat in this division.
Yeah. If I looked at two quarterbacks who I think are a touch too high to be throwing in this division, I'd say Corey Wolofsky and Jeremy White. But look, they qualify for the division. It's going to hurt them to not have Jalen Greaves. Look, he's unguardable basically, and he would be unguardable in this division. I think it'll affect them, but I still think they're going to be one of the top teams. They did take a loss. That said, Corey hasn't thrown in a little bit.
And he was supposed to be the quarterback for commission. That was the talk of the winter season, that he might have been the commission quarterback, but they went Gino DeFazio instead.
Yeah, well, I think it seems as though Corey's team registered, right? Like the infantry registered, so he's going to throw for his team.
For sure.
I think they were surprised that they could still fit him by half a point in the division. Not playing a season kind of helped him in that regard, right? Like other quarterbacks got pushed up. He got to stay at where he was at. So this is huge for them. They need to make the most of it. This is a window for them to get a championship for sure.
The stars are aligned. Given what's in this division, the body of the division teams, the stars are aligned for the infantry to be one of the favorites to win it. I agree with you on that. And now we'll have everyone else like Hot Sauce Sports that will get going as well in the coming days here.
Yeah.
And there will be some hiccups along the way for the supposed favorites. They will lose. Like, for example, we saw infantry lose to the commission, but a team like the commission, where do they stack up? Because they've not been in the league for quite a while. And Brent Block.
But everyone on the team other than Brent Block has been playing.
Yes.
It's they're not rusty.
But not together as a unit though, so.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to say. Gino DeFazio is a competent quarterback. This is a good division for him. I like seeing Jonathan Williams back and playing again. There's a lot of unknown guys in a sense, like guys like Hakeem Kasibi Filitro and Jean-Michel Alert are not guys that we know of particular. Like they're not big name players, but they bring back guys like Peter Rose.
Yeah,
and they add, to me, one of the biggest additions in the division in Mike Pierre-Saint. So if you have Mike Pierre-Saint, that could help you fill the gaps until everyone catches up, right?
You hope so. Hope so. One team that I will watch out for is Tough Lungs. I'm intrigued by what they have as a roster. A little bit smaller, and we know about their run in the winter season that they had, losing in the finals a couple weeks ago. But
it wasn't this. This is the
small giants, but the core of the
but
Tough Lungs.
It's Matthew Lerner throwing.
That's right. It's
not Justin.
Yeah, Justin's on the team here.
But Matthew Lerner had a pretty deep run in last spring.
That's right, exactly. So my point is that there's a lot of the core guys from the smaller giants who are playing on this team here, but now with Matthew Lerner throwing in this roster, and the thing I want to see from Matthew is kind of deviating from Justin Lerner. And
he has been though. That's an old narrative that's not been the case for a while. Darren McDazian has proven that he's more than just a defender, and I've been a big fan of Olivier Delaire. His size and speed is hugely important for them, both as a rusher but also on the offensive side as well. So it's not the same old Matthew Lerner. He's come a long way in his time in FPF, and that's why he's risen to Division C.
And I think the Tough Lungs do have a chance to make noise in this division. I really do.
I don't know who to pick in this division. It's honestly like, I know that personally, and I can't be the only one who did this. I opened my schedule, and normally I count down wins of like I'm pretty sure I got these teams.
Win.
I was like, I don't know.
Bye week win.
I have no idea. And I'm sure I'm not the only one.
And guys, one thing I want to talk about quickly for Div C, playoff format. So all the other ones are very obvious. Whatever teams are in green make playoffs. Same general story for Division C. Top 12 teams out of the 17 will make it. 1, 2, 3, 4 are going to get buys, which for a condensed schedule this summer with all
That's
the
huge.
vacation times, I actually kind of want to buy
You
this
mean
time around.
You mean
versus-
a condensed schedule where the playoffs start during construction holiday?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'd rather not get a game that first week, don't you think?
Yeah.
So, buys actually do matter this
The
time around.
incentive
Normally,
is
it's like,
there.
oh, it's a week off type of thing, and you get rusty. Here, it's more like you get a break, which is good.
And you might get your full roster.
As I said before, right? Teams on average will be playing one game for every 5.2 days, and it's going to be intense. This race that
An
we
intense
have.
burger.
It's a very intense hamburger that we're going to enjoy.
We need the graphicist Duke to design the Mokan intense burger.
Let's go to Div D.
So the reason why I bring up the playoff format is because Division D is going to be fancy pants this year. We have 27 teams divided into 3 conferences: Conference A, Conference B, Conference C. Right now, Rob, you changed it. Why did you change it? Okay, 20 teams are going to make playoffs. It's going to be the top 6 of every conference plus the next best 2. So that could be team number 7 and 8 in Conference A potentially. Most likely it'll be team number 7 in 2 other conferences, but one person isn't going to make it in. So that's going to be the qualifying teams. But then the interesting thing here is that we're doing not a reseed, but a bracket style. So the top 4 teams are going to get buys. There'll be the wild card 13, 20, 14, 19, 15, 18, 16, 17s. And then the matchups will be equivalent just as you would do any other type of 20-team single elimination bracket, essentially. So if you are the 20th seeded team, you will still have a difficult road to get to the top. But you're not playing the 1 seed and then the 2 seed and then the 3 seed and then the 4 seed. You're playing the 4 and then all the way down essentially the bracket until you get there. So you will have to play hard teams eventually, but it's not going to be the unsurmountable road that we normally have.
By the way, should we put on the league standing page for Division D the wild card teams maybe in blue to kind of indicate who are the wild card teams, besides green being you're in the playoffs and red being out of the playoffs?
I will bring it up with the website people. Right now, I'm trying to figure out why everything else is not working.
Like
So.
Control Alt Delete. All right, so Div D and
So Eagle, just a quick question. But the conferences still matter. So it's the bottom 2 from each conference that don't make the playoffs.
Think of it the other way around. Top 6 teams in each conference will make playoffs.
Okay.
And then the next best 2 records, regardless of conference.
okay.
Next best 2 records regardless of
So we should put like a designation for that, though.
Okay.
So most
I
likely
see what
2
you're
number
saying.
7s, but could easily be a 7 and 8 in the same conference.
So
depending
and
on
it's
the-
not the top 7 because also that wouldn't work.
Yeah,
That would be
Exactly.
We need
21
to get
teams.
that
Got you.
designated.
Yeah.
so.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm really. I think Fourth and Schlong and Trap Stars. I saw them play this week. I know it's early, but they may be the best teams in this division.
Yeah. I like Blue Dreamers a lot. They haven't played yet. But they'd be top in my made up power ranking. Please don't make me do it in this division.
No, don't worry. We won't do that.
Not just yet.
We'll do all 28.
But yeah, I like them a lot. I like Killer Rays stepping up after winning a championship. by
And they
the
won
way.
their game, I believe, this week.
Lockdown also returns from not winning a championship in a division that I think is probably a touch too low for them.
Trap Stars also
So that's another team to think of.
Trap Stars also
But yeah, I agree that Fourth and Schlong and Trap Stars. What Eagle?
Trap Stars also returned and they won. So
Yeah, but
After
they don't,
winning a
But they
championship.
don't have Ryan Garber on the roster.
Yeah.
From what I gather, I spoke to some of the guys yesterday in the monsoon-drenched football that we had at Loyola. It appears Ryan Garber will be missing games. He still is on the roster, but they think that he can get eligible for 5, so they can get that accomplished.
Yeah.
But he's definitely one of those guys that if you miss him, who can step up. Colin Oberfeld can be a guy. David Giroux's played well. Neighbors played well. They do have guys on that roster that can definitely step up to the plate, but a guy like Garber can definitely help that roster, and Ryan's one of those guys that really makes Cooper Young more dynamic as a quarterback.
Yeah. Cooper Young honestly really impressed me in that final. It is interesting to see teams win a championship and then return to the same division.
Yeah.
Technically, it's higher, by the way, because this is a hybrid
It
4
is.
and 5.
It is.
And we were
it's
playing
like plus.
5B, so in a
Yeah.
way, this actually is a significant
That's
jump.
true. That's true. That is true. You know, that said, like it's also different in that. You know, Eagle, I know I'm ragging on Lockdown a little bit, but the difference is that the experience of Lockdown and their quarterback versus Cooper Young, who I want to say last season was his first full season as quarterback.
Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean, that's something that I think matters, and so I'm that's why it was less sort of alarming to see Trapstars in division. But I agree. I like Fourth and Schlong as a talented group to begin with.
A team I kind of wanted to talk about, and I mentioned this in our group
Gimme.
chat, Team Timbo. They tied their first game 8-8. So this is the what I'll call the U, but different. Same roster, different quarterbacks. And now Tim Horner is taking his chance at quarterback.
That's their specialty, by the way, is registering the same group of guys with a different quarterback.
Yeah, which helps them.
So their game was 8-8. One thing I noticed on this score sheet is both quarterbacks have a significant number of interceptions, only one touchdown. Notice there's no actual extra points in this game.
Oh, safeties?
2 safeties.
That's wild.
1 per side. You have to go through the play-by-play, and I was like, wait, what happened here? Sack for a safety in the end zone, essentially.
Were they bad snaps or
Nope,
sacks?
actual sacks.
Also, so Declan Montague
Yep. Tim Horner got a sack,
and Victor Boulain on Le Cité des Jetons, getting the safeties. 6 sacks combined between these two teams.
It's a defensive slugfest. Who loves defensive games?
This sounds like a horrible game to watch. I'm very happy I didn't have to watch it.
Yeah, but someone would love watching this. I think Iggy would love to be like, that's the type of football I grew up with.
8-8, where like
Well, Iggy's used to it. Right?
a quarter of the points come on safeties.
Iggy's used to it because Honey Martin was like that. You know.
He wasn't happy about that though.
No, but
they were supposed to be an offensive juggernaut.
Kiss My Vulture is a team that I can definitely keep an eye out for. I mean, that roster that they built up, it's actually a melange of guys. I think we talk about.
Well, that's the whole point. That's why it's Kiss My Vultures, right?
Yes,
like it's got Kiss My End Zone guys. It's got Vultures guys.
David DeAndre's on there. Althon Martin's on there. Alex Dubois on there. James Drysdale as well. Phil Roberts. There's guys that we're very familiar with, and if they can get that rapport in place, which they did in the first game against Mad Dogs, maybe they could be a team to watch out for among the Fourth and Schlong and Trapstars that we've been mentioning, maybe even Lockdown for that matter.
Yeah, they have the talent, and we saw Dave DeAndre play great in the finals.
Yeah,
he had a less successful outing this time around, but they got the win. They got the win over Mad Dogs. He did turn over the ball, which is the worry with Dave DeAndre at times. But look, if this team can win games where he's not perfect, that's a great recipe for him because he's good enough to carry them in some weeks, and in other weeks he's going to need to be bailed out. And it looks like they're the kind of team that can do that.
Threat level midnight, V-Town.
V-Town making a jump. I like that.
Yeah.
Threat level midnight is a team that's kind of faded. They're a team like opposite some of the teams we've talked about where we saw them on the rise for a little bit, and now they seem to be sort of sinking into either stagnating in their division or dropping into lower divisions.
Yeah, and maybe this might be a division that does not fit them well, but perhaps they are competitive and they do some noise in this division here. And V-Town's a team that, again, has a lot of potential for what they have built up in years past here, and I'm intrigued by what they can do from where they were now stepping up to this division here. Maybe they may not win 5-6 games, but if they win 3-4, then I think that can be a successful year for them going forward.
They bring when it comes to Threat Level Midnight, they bring back Julien Prou, who hasn't been on the team since 2019.
Yeah.
So that's a nice piece. He's so effective in a lot of different positions, so it's nice to have him on the roster. And V-Town, like you said, Mo, like the idea of them taking the chance to move up to a higher division. We know they have talent, right? Like we've seen them have big games. I think at least the beginning of the season, they go up against Kiss My Vulture to start their season. That's the worst of starts you can have. But I'm curious to see how well a guy like Jason Cassandra can do, or Vito Rizzuto, who came alive, especially in the second half of last season.
Yeah.
That duo, to see how well they can do against better competition.
All right, Pease, if we have to pick one division winner for each conference, so
let's do it.
In Conference A, if we get the divisions up here, Eagle.
Conference A, I'm gonna go Blue Dreamers. I'm a really big fan of Blue Dreamers.
All right, so Blue Dreamers is your team.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. No, I'm gonna go Kiss My Vulture.
Yeah, it's 1A, 1B for
Yeah.
me.
Conference B.
I just can't pick Iggy.
Who
Right?
are the former All-Stars, by the way? And in what league are you All-Stars in? Question mark.
Well, I mean, there are other sports.
Hmm.
I don't know. I honestly don't know them, to be honest.
All right, Conference B.
I will know them because I'm writing for Division D, by the way. So I'll get to know them this season.
Conference B. I got Lockdown. I'm gonna go with Eagles Lockdown this season.
Yeah, I guess I can't say how. By the way, also Primetime jumping up too.
Yep.
Cool to see that.
Yep.
I can't say that Lockdown are probably a little too good for this division. See them score 47 points and then not say that they should win this division. So I'll
Yeah.
go Lockdown as well. Although Killer Rays, man, 28-18, the first game.
Killer Rays, Primetime, Santaud, and Lockdown all in this division, this conference here. I think
Group
it's
of
going to be
death.
actual tough
Guy,
race.
Group of death.
you're talking about 4 teams that moved up from Division 6.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing. That was dishonest.
Conference.
Like, I'm not saying that they're not as good as you. I'm just saying it's not an honest argument.
Conference C. I got Trap Stars winning that division.
I'm gonna go Team Timbo because every time I pick
With
against
their
the
6
U,
plus 2 points.
every time I pick against the U, I am proven wrong, and I'm gonna stop doing it. So Team Timbo until they continue to throw interceptions. Also, I'm a big Tim Horner guy, so
Ghost might actually be strong here
he
potentially.
gets me Horner.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Ghost, it all comes down to how Jamal Roach does, right? I think
Yeah.
he had a great first season.
And he petered out towards the end of the
He
season.
petered out last season as
Yeah.
well. Is he on the roster? I just opened it up. Malachi Roach is on the team. Is Evan Eli Nolet the quarterback?
Perhaps, maybe. By the way, Tim Timbo, I beg your pardon.
Team Timbo.
Team Timbo.
Tim Timbo.
Yeah. We'll play Trap Stars week 3 on
We'll
June
know.
21st. So we'll
Yeah.
know by then where they both stack up. All right, Division E. As we roll along here in the opening episode of Calling the Audible. Division E. We look at what we have for Division E.
By the way, playoff structure here. 8 teams are going to make it. 8 from A, 8 from B. But after that, question mark.
Maybe my plan comes into play. Maybe.
Of which we will not announce what the plan is.
Yep.
Even though we probably could because we're not doing a split this year. So
Yeah.
anyway.
Anyway, I did.
We're doing an experiment this year,
yeah,
maybe.
have fun with it. All right. I look at this 2 conferences of 9 and one with 10. The Praetorian Guard, the Roman bodyguards here.
Mhm.
This is a team that we know very well. They actually have Danny Demore back on the roster, who's replacing.
Praetorian. AE is like
Oh.
Caesar.
That's right. So they had Danny Demore back on the roster.
Yeah.
This is a team that has a lot of wealth of talent to work with.
But Lozano's throwing.
yeah.
He has thrown in other leagues.
Yes.
I want to say it's either Terrebonne or MFL. I don't remember.
Right.
He's a really good receiver though, so I get at least they get to replace him with
Danny Demore.
Danny Demore. Sorry, he's not on the roster. That's why I looked back and I was like, wait a second,
Right. So
is he on the team though? Do we know that for sure?
I believe so. Like I saw Danny Demore play on.
But clearly not
Tuesday.
with this roster.
Yeah, he's not on this
Must
team.
be with another team. I beg your pardon. I beg your
But
pardon. I
either
got
way,
the
like
roster
Brandon
confused.
Sadlov's on this team. Benjamin Bork's really good too. The Jared Buck, we obviously know his talent.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Medved is he's up for us for a game in Division 4.
Yeah.
He played receiver, but
Yeah.
I could tell just in his understanding of the concepts that
Peerless
guy who-
Scarred, by the way, is his team.
Okay. There you go. I beg your pardon on that. That's right.
so I could tell just in the way he spoke about the game and understood concepts in the huddle is that he's a guy who can throw and be successful.
Just one thing before we go off course here. TB Elite is a new team in this league. They're I would say high schoolers about to go to Sejep. Unfortunately, they had a rude awakening because they came late, so they were down 24-0 before they even got the first snap in. Guys, just come early. I know the weather was not easy. I know the highways were closed, but take that into consideration because unless you have guys playing on other fields in the same area or coming from a different field that we know of, we can't delay the start of a game because your team is running 10 minutes late because they didn't realize.
Also, we don't delay starts.
No, we don't. Unless a team you have guys playing on
Or if
field.
there's like a rain delay or something.
Yeah, unless you have guys playing on the adjacent field from us. But But they took a beating. But we look at MFT, decent roster that they've built up here.
Well, like
but
they lost,
again,
but like they lost 20-6,
yeah,
which is not terrible.
no, but I don't know how MFT is really, because then again, what it was yesterday with the downpour of rain that we had, both teams didn't play well, and it was hard to just get a feel for that football game. But I look at these two divisions here, and there's going to be a team that's going to rise up that we don't talk about. We're going to say, holy bleep, wow, they came out of left field and really did a good job this year in the regular season.
Yeah. Again, we've seen Adam Mantel throw though. Mixed results, and we see it here too. Like single-digit completions. That's never a good sign. So we'll have to see how good they look in like a regular setting.
What about Vic in the box though?
Go ahead, Negus.
Yes,
I was gonna actually, you can do Vic in the box first. I was gonna say what's wrong with Brewers because it's off to the same bad start as last season. But yeah, you go first with the Vic in the box.
Okay, we'll start with Vic in the box. That's fine. Vic in the box. They're a group we're familiar with, right? Max Pira, Craig Browning. That's a nasty duo. I'm not sure who's throwing on this team. Because Sebastian Zuffel is a sort of a two-way guy with Simtaye, I believe the snapper. Nick Sanchez. Is Nick Richard throwing? Nick Richard?
I mean, that's the one that looks like the most obvious person based on QB rating. But arguably it could be anyone.
And but what's the quarterback cap for Divi?
66, 67, 66, one of
Oh,
those.
okay, so it's not 65. Okay.
No.
So yeah, Nick Richard, I guess, is throwing. Look, it's a great way to keep a receiving core of Craig Browning, Max Pira, and Nicholas Sanchez together, because that's a really good receiving core. They're going to be good two ways. Max Pira in Division 6 is, I'm going to call it, he's either two-way or Defensive Player of the Year because guys are going to float balls and he catches up to everything. So Max Pira, two-way or Defensive Player of the Year or bust.
I think there will be an undefeated team in this division.
That might be Vic in the box. Just looking like it depends on Nick Richard, obviously, but if he's even competent, that team.
But
is
when you
really
say undefeated,
love the
dominant
name
force,
Win Diesel, by the way. That's a team after my own heart.
would you say Vic in the box will be a dominant undefeated team, or a team that's going to?
It could be like if Nick Richards good, they'll be dominant. If he's competent, they'll be 9-1, 10-0, in winning a lot of close games.
So good old American made power with Win Diesel with the roster.
Well, Eagle asked the question though.
Yes, Eagle.
Yeah, Brewers. They lose their first game 37-7 to QB Roulette. It's the same roster they've always had, right? We're looking at Chris Moran. We're looking at
it's a group of friends, right? So it's they need to find a way to maximize, their players. They tend to get a lot of drops. They tend to have a lot of guys in the wrong position, guys blowing coverage. In this game.
Well, it's this game. They don't have Chris Moran. They don't have James Moulton. They don't have Franco Elispi. They don't have Eddie Lalonde.
Eric Bluestiak was their top receiver in the game, right? He had 12 targets in the loss.
Which in Div E, Bluestiak's a really good possession receiver.
Yeah,
but he can't be the only guy you got. And they went up against a team where Zachary Albert-Skill, who's a very good contained rusher, applied the pressure to Jeffrey Lefebvre. Jeff Lefebvre. What's interesting about Jeff? So, by the way, first of all, I have an apology to make.
Oh boy,
roll out, guys. I received a message 3 years ago from Jeff Lefebvre on a Facebook account that's not the Peas Del Ruiz account, on a Paulo Del Rock account that I don't use. I went on this week, Mo, because I lost my wallet.
Yeah.
And I was hoping someone would have messaged me that they found my wallet.
Right.
And instead of that message, I found a 3-year-old message from Jeff Lefebvre reaching out, asking for help. And I feel like such a dick. I'm sorry, dude. I will totally reach out and give you a hand. It's not. What's interesting about Jeff is
he's a nice guy.
Nice guy, but it's not even the play calling in itself. It's the way he processes reads that doesn't work to his favor.
Yeah.
It leads to a lot of late throws that then get intercepted. And if he can limit interceptions, and listen, this is also kettle calling the pot black. Eh? Like when I'm talking about quarterbacks limiting interceptions, I got tongue lashed by Dan Lazara this week for never throwing single-digit interceptions in the season. So just because I do it, it doesn't mean I don't know how to avoid it, right? So like I I think we can help you in that way. But there are other issues, right? Like it's not just on one guy. It's roster consistency. Guys got to catch balls, and the defense needs to be better. Like Sebastian Lamy and Vincent Barcelot playing QB roulette in this game.
Right.
Two different guys coming at them, both of them seeing success. They allowed 6 offensive touchdowns. It's gonna be hard to win games that way.
No, and the thing is with these teams in Div, I know we talk about the developmental teams here, but there's a little bit more of the melange of we have the high end teams and the low end teams together, which I think is a good barometer test for these teams because look, we look at spring season and say, okay, it's not winter, no question, but it gives teams that hope that hey, if we can build upon this season and going towards fall cup and towards winter year, we can become a legit threat for whatever division they enter come winter season in January. So I'm really intrigued by this Division E. And our new writer this year is who again? Joel?
Joel. I forgot his last name.
Joel, last name we don't know yet.
Joel.
I do know it. I was introduced to him. I had a
Was
very
he at the
nice
roadshow?
What? Sorry?
Was he at the roadshow?
I don't believe so. He's a scorekeeper. He's actually not playing this season, but he's a scorekeeper.
Right.
So we'll see him at the fields. Great dude, super enthusiastic. Love talking to him. But we will get his first article this week.
I remember
Great writer too.
I remember the dude that wrote for us like 4 or 5 years ago. Lived in NDG, would travel to St. Leonard to catch a game or two.
Chris Dogger?
No, not Chris Dagger. It was a dude that at Roadshow, he was there, and he asked me, can you drop me home? I go, dude, we're going out.
Oh,
I know
Joey
exactly.
Sizik.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a little bit quirky,
Yeah.
but he went. I remember I'm like, dude, where are you from? NDG. So you travel by bus metro to come and watch one game. He goes, yeah.
I tease Joey as I've known him for a long, long time. We played fantasy football together for a long time, and I used to say Joey is the person who I know who has eyelids while looking most like the person who has no eyelids.
Yeah. It was such a weird. He's like, dude, can you drop me off? I'm like, we're about to go out and eat.
Yeah.
And he went to go catch a bus metro back into the city. I'm like, you could come with us to eat. I would have dropped you off afterwards.
Yeah.
But
Well, maybe he had something to do.
perhaps at 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday.
You never know. You never know.
Never know, of course. All right.
At least they let us into Dunn's that time.
Yes, that's right. We weren't allowed to go to Dunn's.
I have to clear out initial apology to the to the manager at Dunn's. I'm sorry I screamed at you and said, "What do you mean, you people?" You didn't say you people.
Oh, you
I
screamed at him? Really?
Yeah, I was inebriated at the time.
Oh.
As Mo Khan said, I partook in some trees right before.
Yeah, I
Dunn's.
smelled some trees outside.
I also admittedly baited peas because I walked outside and I was like, they don't want us. And he's like,
Yeah.
what do you mean, you people?
Should we reserve now for August?
I don't think-
Honestly, that would be a hilarious troll of that manager.
I don't think our kind are welcome, Mo.
But when's the roadshow? August 12th?
14th.
Right. So should we book now? I think we're
Yes.
gonna call him. Well, next week, 2 weeks from now, we're gonna call him up on the show. Hey, listen, could we book August 14th?
Actually, now that you say, what time does Pooch close at?
Anyway, you find out for that. Let's jump into co-ed. And we have 2 co-ed divisions here, co-ed 1, co-ed 2. Not the big hitters that we've seen.
Oh, they close at 11.
So why don't you just Uber Eats, man?
Nah, man.
I mean, not the same big hitters. There's some
No,
big hitters.
there's some different big hitters in this division for co-ed 1. When you look at it right now.
Easy Fun is back. Fit Squad is back.
Yes.
Those Easy Fun was great. Fit Squad won a.
But Kiss My Outlaws has Stephen Harpersod.
No, they lost in the championship. Sorry.
Right, but Stephen Harpersad's back throwing in this division, and
For Kiss My Outlaws.
yeah, and that's a pretty good roster that they've constructed for this division.
I think Abigail Cockerton's going to have a great season snapping for Stephen Harpersod. She fits what he does perfectly. I don't know Brianna Keeley, but they add Isaiah Lard, Joey Notaro.
That's a good roster.
Yeah. The speed of Joey Notaro, Kevin Donnett, Isaiah Lard is nonsense. And Louis Bégin? That's a lot of speed.
It's the who's who of this division, right? And
So who do you rush? Do you rush Isaiah Lard or Erica Dubois? Erica
think-
Dubois won Finals MVP.
I think Eric Dubois will rush the quarterback, and you can put Isaiah Lard somewhere
She got a
else.
sack first game as well.
Yeah, and it's a luxury that they have now, right? That if one of the others isn't producing, they want to change it
and,
up.
and again, they have Joey Notaro who's also a rusher.
Exactly.
So the good news is if you're missing a rusher, you have 2 other guys who can do it.
LPP though, they're 2-0. So they're in first place right now in co-ed 1. And we look at that team here, and we know some familiar faces, Don LaFour being one of them. 10 TDs, 1 INT so far, and he's off to a good start. But that receiving core is fairly good. Would I put them up against Outlaws? No, but I think they're in that next wave that can definitely make some noise.
Well, Alexis Ferran has been great so far. Ferran also had 2 interceptions. And Marie-Ève Vaudrin was exceptional in week 1. It's not a lot of the names we know so far. The only real name we know is Dom Lefort. And I think the two-way quarterbacks are very effective in co-ed. We've seen that with Jeremy White, and I think Dom Lefort is exceptionally mobile, and not every team has the rushers that Kiss My Outlaws has, right? So they went in there, they beat Le Petit Fuck, beat Fit Squad, they beat the Justice League. They're looking good so far.
Yeah, and this division, again, not the same as in years past for co-ed that we had, but a team like Easy Fun, Fast Not Furious. I'm looking at this team that maybe could make some noise, tough out for what they have as a roster that they've built up here. And again, this is a team that with their passing, as this thing loads up properly, Justin Weir's throwing for them. We know that he's played in this division before. Maybe he does have that.
It's a lot of the yin and yang.
Yeah, maybe he has that panache to take out a Harry Prasad. And he's one of those quarterbacks that when he's on, he's unbelievably talented to make noise in this division.
Yeah, absolutely. It's and James Drysdale not playing with Kiss My Outlaws, playing instead with Fast Not Furious. Marvin Steinberg, of course, another big name.
And Ryan Dobbs Garner too, right?
Yeah, when Ryan healed, it seems, from his
he's nuts for. I give him props for doing this love for football, but man, he took a bad gash to his head.
But Dorian Lapointe and Manu Côté-Noël are also worthy of rushers I've ever faced.
Right.
So they always have that going for them.
Right. When you look at co-ed 2, and where would you rank Kiss My End Zone 300 as the best teams as in T2?
I think 300 is turning a corner now. Like they were the most talented team in the spring, but there seemed to be just a lack of sort of general knowledge. And Marc-Antoine Martin looks solid to start, and it's good enough given the wealth of talent.
Yeah.
Rekha is incredibly versatile. If they're still using her at snap, it's the kind of snapper that can attack at all 3 levels. That's a huge deal. Cynthia Niski-Zafir is really a smart defensive player. She also had a huge not a huge game on offense, but she caught a touchdown on offense as well. So good to see her getting involved both ways. She called the game with me.
Yeah.
In the co-ed finals, and the talent on this team is noticeable. It's not all the same players, so maybe they aren't quite that behemoth, but maybe it comes with a little more knowledge. They do have a giant roster again, so we'll see if they struggle to get their best players on the field at all times. But in the meantime, they are a team that catches my attention, as does Les Princesses. Les Princesses 2-0.
They are 2-0. By the way, all 7 teams make playoffs with the 1 seed having a bye. But why does LP catch your attention?
Well, it's just it's not a team we're familiar with, right? And they had Dimitri Melsbach throw and go for 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, and also had Jean-Manuel Barthélemy throw as well.
Who we're very familiar with.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's a combination of some people we know, like Michael Arsenault. Like we saw his dominant season in Division 6, but I'm curious to see like players like Emma Barthélemy, see how she fits onto the team, as well as Emmanuel Flynn. Defensively, they seem to have a good system. It's a question as to whether or not they can get sort of involvement from everyone on the team.
Right. On to the women's division. Look, it's a little bit smaller, but this is the beauty of it because actually I think, and we had a discussion in our production meeting earlier today about...
Was I there for
You were there for the production meeting.
I was totally paying attention.
I know the bigger names aren't in this division, but I think the 4 teams that are in this division is great reps for them to obtain during this spring season, that when they do come back, which I think these teams will be back for ensuing seasons, they're going to be a lot better for it.
Well, I think it's like a team like Red Nation. It's going to help them a lot, right? Because
Yeah.
they were solid last season, but gives them an opportunity to compete in a real way.
They were solid, but let's admit that they were just a step behind.
Yeah.
This
will help them catch up. I'm excited to see the Villa team as well.
Which is coached by Gino DeFazio, I believe.
They are? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I imagine his daughter's on the team. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think she goes to Villa as well.
That's why I'm asking.
Right.
So look, Gino, as much as we like to poke and tease, he's a guy who knows the game well, right? So if he can
actually, if you don't mind, sorry, please. If Eagle, can you go to the Villa roster for a minute, please?
I'm looking at it right now.
Do you see who's on the roster?
Yep.
who are we talking about?
Let's just say this.
Number 4 on the
If
roster.
Someone puts him or herself as DNP for this game, it's a roster forfeit. Let's just put it that way.
Well, but we've seen coaches on rosters before.
I know, but it's just so funny.
So
yes, but if they get a DNP, then
I think it's for conflicts.
Maybe.
Because that was the case for Olivier Leberge.
Maybe.
He was on the women's roster as
Which
a coach.
is fine, but as long as you can't get games played.
Yeah, no, obviously.
Of course not.
Obviously.
You don't
to me,
get
it would be like if you're a scorekeeper in the women's division and you give a man a game played, you should not be a scorekeeper for FPF anymore.
I
right?
mean, we also had people adding people brand new
During
players
playoffs.
for
Yeah.
So
I'm being nice. I'm saying
Anyway,
the bar
under-
is quite low right now.
I'm
Alright.
saying to understand the criteria for women's division.
Right. Let's avoid that. Let's focus on the women's division, though. Villa's got some names that are hopefully going to play. Marie-Lou Cote-Noel is a person that we know very well.
Yeah.
She can perhaps have a big influence in this roster. The thing that I want to see from this edition of the women's team, I know it's 4, is that who will be the next superstars that we can include to that equation that we already have being built up with the women's league from winter and for the ensuing seasons that will come with these fantastic athletes that we have in the Fall Cup and then hopefully for winter season moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, someone like Cassie Levy in a loss. Sorry.
Yeah, your
I've been
voice-
talking for a long time.
Yeah, you've been going at it for a while here.
Give me a second.
I think you're crying.
All right. In
You're
a
back.
loss, Cassie Levy scored a touchdown. She had 2 catches, 40 yards for strangers. Sometimes I think about someone like that who just might be on a team that's not as strong, but will get a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
Red Nation, of course, is a team we saw in the women's final already. So Alison Sobel will make the next step. Lamise Aljundi is playing co-ed 1 as well as women's. So maybe to adapt to that speed and bring it to playing in a strip, sort of like quote unquote stripped down women's division with less teams. See how that affects her play, especially on defense, given how impactful she can be on defense to begin with.
Right.
So I'm curious to see how that affects her. And it's a women's division that's missing a lot of the university talent, right? Because their season is now.
Yeah, they have nationals and all that stuff
Yeah.
going on in outdoor touch.
Well, not their season, but their tournament schedule and all that.
Yeah, which have them traveling to like Texas and stuff like that now in the coming months here. So yeah, I think this is gonna be fun to watch. It's smaller, but it gives us a chance to really shine more light on the players that hopefully are gonna be up and coming for this women's division for years to come.
Also, we don't know all of your stories, so reach out to us. Talk
Yeah,
to
exactly.
us. I learned a ton about the women's division last season just by some of these amazing women reaching out, talking to me, telling me about all the things I got wrong in the podcast. I got to call. Well, we both got to call
Yeah,
our
we
first
did.
women's finals. It was probably the most fun I've had working at FPF in a long time. It was cool. It was a different experience. So definitely reach out to us. Tell us about all the things we got wrong. Teach us about your teams. Tell us your stories. Come on our show.
Don't be shy.
We don't need another season of mansplaining with Mo and Peas. We'd like to hear about the division in your own words.
And here's the thing, right? Thankfully, there'll be like Stade de Montréal, Laval, so we'll get to see them a little bit more, right? Where, history has shown that they play at Stade de Montréal, so you and I may not be there to see their games live, but now with a little bit more flexibility of schedule, we do see that happening. So look forward to that. All right, it is now time for
Games of the week. This
And
is going to be a weird one because it's not really of the week. It's just whatever's
Games
left of
the week.
this week plus
Yeah,
some
next-
of next week, but
yeah.
not
Amazing.
really, though.
Very excited by the chaos.
You know what? Let's do everything, and then we can change our picks for whatever's left for next week.
Naturally.
I mean, sure.
Yeah, but we're not even here next week, Peas and I.
Oh yeah.
It's
Well,
going to be
Peas is
Iggy and insert name.
Iggy and Eagle.
Oh,
Eagle.
that's a terrible show.
Brent Bakken.
That's just Iggy talking by himself for hours
Well, if
while I set him up.
if we can't get a sub, I'll be here.
All right, let's go. Division A, the Apocalypse KGP.
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 All Stars Braves, rematch of our Division 1 final.
Stars.
Braves, because it's a coin flip.
And Party Crashers Braves.
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 All right, Division B, we're going to start with our Thursday games. Mangoose versus Junkyard Dogs.
JYD.
JYD.
But there is no love lost with these two teams here. Let's put it that way.
BYOB, Moretti Crime Family.
Moretti crime family for me.
It's Moretti against who?
BYOB.
I'm Moretti.
Silent Ticklers, BYOB.
Ticklers.
Ticklers.
All right, Silent Ticklers, brand new.
Brand new.
Ticklers.
Mangoose, B-Raves.
B-Rays.
And Moretti Crime Family, Thor's Hammer.
Thor's hammer.
Thor's hammer.
All right, Division C.
I think I
Tough-
picked against my power rankings completely.
Tough Lungs, One Step Closer.
Lungs.
Lungs.
2 Inches Gang, Vultures.
Vultures.
Ravens, Vultures.
Vultures.
Vultures, yeah.
Air Force One, The Stoics.
Air Force One.
Yeah, AF1.
Vultures, Top Season.
Vultures.
Seasons.
Easy W, Les Montagnards.
Easy W.
Easy W.
ESU Timberwolves, Hot Sauce Sports.
The Alvin Max. I'll go with Hot Sauce Sports.
I can't pick it, so Hot Sauce Sports by 50.
The Infantry, Blitzed Buds.
Infantry.
Gonna be a fun game though. I'll go
Yeah.
infantry.
Los Penetradores versus ECW.
Easy W.
No more censors, huh? In FPF. Easy W.
And Air Force One, 2 Inches Gang.
AF1.
AF1.
Division D, Thursday games. The Mighty Six, Mad Dogs.
Mad Dogs.
Dogs, yeah.
Trap Stars, former All Stars.
Trap Stars.
Trap Stars.
Threat Level Midnight, Fave the Turftles.
Level Midnight.
That's right. Level Midnight.
Ghost, Team Timbo.
Team Timbo.
Timbo.
La Cité des Jetons, Killer Rays.
Killer Rays.
Yeah, Rays for me.
Blue Dreamers, Bandits.
You already know. Blue Dreams.
Yep.
Primetime, Wide Open Bar.
Wide open bar.
I'll go with Primetime.
Just like the name.
And Glory Boys, Threat Level Midnight.
Glory Boys.
Yeah, Glory Boys for me.
All right, week 2, Wide Open Bar, Team Timbo.
Team Timbo.
Double T.
Dirty Dogs, Lockdown.
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 Ghost, Bandits.
Ghosts.
Ghost. Yeah, Bandits were not that great.
Undertakers, Glory Boys.
Undertakers.
Yeah, Undertakers.
Primetime, Selwyn Old Boys.
Primetime. Some of the
Primetime.
boys were missing in action this week.
Replacements, Big Dracos.
Big Dracos.
Yeah, Dracos.
Peerless Scarred, La Cité des Jetons.
Peerless.
La Cité.
Dirty Dogs, Centaur.
Dirty Dogs.
Santar.
Centaur, Killer Rays.
Centaur.
Rays.
Selwyn Old Boys, Undertakers.
Undertakers.
Selwyn.
And Save the Turftles, Late.
Six Turtles.
Save the Turtles.
Division E, Magnetos, Win Diesel.
Win Diesel.
Gonna go with my boy Magnetos.
The Pillow Talkers, Brewers.
Pill Talkers.
Yeah, same.
Sous les fesses, nice. The Penetrators.
Penetrators.
Yeah, Penetrators.
Best game of the week. Game of the week.
Win Diesel, the Praetorian Guard.
Praetorian Guard.
Praetorian.
Praetorian Guard.
Sizzle, Vic in a Box.
Stick in the box.
Sous les fesses, Big Fat Bats.
Big fat bats.
Big fat bats.
Vic in a Box, Sous les fesses.
Big in a box.
Yeah, big in the box.
Scranton Stranglers, Minkia FT.
Again, the censors.
Scratch-
Stranglers.
I'm gonna go Scranton.
The Penetrators, Magnetos.
Penetrators. Fortunately.
Minkia and FT versus Degens.
Mickey FT.
MFT.
Win Diesel, Sizzle.
Win Diesel.
Yeah, Win Diesel.
Mountain Goats, QB Roulette.
Roulette.
UB Roulette.
Black Label, Mountain Goats.
Label.
Label.
DGen's Pillow Talkers.
Bill Talkers.
Little Talkers.
And that'll be it for Div E. Coed 1, the Justice League, Les Petits Fuck.
PP.
Fuck.
Fast Not Furious, Fit Squad.
Fit Squad.
Fit Squad.
Fast Not Furious, Easy Fun.
Easy Fun.
He's what?
Easy Fun, Kiss My Outlaws.
Ooh. Kiss My Outlaws.
He's fun.
That's
Coed
an
2.
amazing game so early in the season.
Yeah.
Blue Wave, Iced Out.
Iced out. Iced out, yeah.
I stopped.
Sneaky Snakes, 3 Hunas.
3 Hunas.
3 Hunas, Iced Out.
3 Hunas.
300s.
Kiss My End Zone, Les Princesses.
Kiss Man Zone.
End zone.
Blue Wave, Gorillas.
Wave.
Blue Wave. Is the reason we... Oh, that game was Monday? Oh, yeah. I forgot Park St. Michel. Disaster.
And
remind me.
lastly, Women's Division, Red Nation, Villa.
RN.
Yeah. Red Nation.
Les Petits Miettes, Strangers.
LPM.
And Villa, Strangers.
Villa.
All right. As I wait for this track to finish, reminders for teams. Park Saint Michel
Yes.
is no more. We are moving our games from the field. As a long story short, the City of Montreal committed to removing the soccer nets for our games. We get there on Monday evening. Soccer nets are in place. The city says they are not removing their nets. So
Because reasons.
we postponed our games, we're canceling our contract, and we'll be moving those games to somewhere on that same night.
Eventually.
More
So-
accommodating to us.
Yeah.
so you might
we're
have triple headers this season.
so
Perhaps.
we're working through that situation right now. We're finding additional field availabilities, so that'll be all done. As well, there's a couple teams. I think they might actually already be off the schedule, actually, which is nice. So a couple things have to be moved around for some teams that had to withdraw last minute. So that should already be addressed. So we should be okay on that. But just FYI,
And last-
if you saw games in your schedule, they may be different opponents now.
Lastly, teams, be aware of your schedule that you might play back-to-back nights. There was a team that thought they played Sunday and their next game was the following Monday, not the Sunday that it was to the Wednesday. And unfortunately, had to pay the fine of $150 because there is a fine if you do not inform the league that you're not coming, and also not being there. So $150 could be out of your pocket if you do not follow league rules, which is important to look at your schedule and make sure that you have everything locked in.
Yep.
All right.
Last other thing
Yeah.
for teams, under the resources tab, you can submit your roster. So go there, fill in the form. So as an example, we can pretend that I am playing on Thursday. So Thursday would be the 9th. And then I would type my team name in here. You pick your division. Based off of that, you pick your field. And then you type your roster in with the numbers and players and everything. And just submit that, and you're good to go.
Excellent.
Also, make sure you don't break your cap for your division. To do that, under roster verification, it'll tell you if you fit or not. Make sure you check your quarterback caps accordingly, and that has to be good.
All right. Peace and I are not here next week. It will be Eagle,
I
Iggy,
might be here. If I can't find a replacement, I'll be here.
Brent Bach will be here. Don't worry. Don't worry. It'll be
So-
Brent, Iggy, and Eagle. All right. Magic words, please.
The Warriors are down.
Good night, Steph Curry.